Welcome you all in this our lecture series program. We are going to talk about Introduction to Linguistics Semester 2. This is our lecture 1. We already have completed all the video lectures on Introduction to Linguistics Semester 1. You may watch our 27 lectures. Their description is given into the description box. Let's talk about our topic, and that is the scope of linguistics. Here are the areas we are going to discuss today. Number 1, micro-linguistics, macro-linguistics, descriptive, comparative, and historical linguistics. These are some of the areas we are going to talk about in our today's lecture. So let's get started without a further ado. Here we are going to talk about scope of linguistics. What is a scope? This is number 1 to describe the range of things that a subject, an organization, an activity, etc. deals. This subject lies beyond the scope of our investigation. So when we are talking about the scope of linguistics, we are talking about the range of things we study within the subject, are the areas what we are going to discuss. When we talk about linguistics, scientific study of language. So within this topic, what we are going to discuss and what are the areas we are going to study is called a scope of linguistics. So when we talk about linguistics covers a wide range of topics and its boundaries, which are difficult to define. Following are some of the areas of linguistics. When we talk about areas of linguistics or scope of linguistics, it is extended to micro-linguistics and macro-linguistics. So let's talk about one by one these areas, micro and macro-linguistics. Here we are talking about micro-linguistics. Micro-linguistics, it is the inner circle of linguistics, includes phonetics, phonology, morphology, syntax, semantics, and pragmatics. These are actually the areas we study in linguistics. Here, when we talk about macro-linguistics, we are talking about macro-linguistics is the study outer circle of linguistics, or branches of linguistics. It includes psycholinguistics, sociolinguistics, applied linguistics, stylistics, etc. As it is there, when we talk about psycholinguistics, we study about psychology and linguistics. When we talk about sociolinguistics, we study about sociology and linguistics. In this regard, when we talk about macro-linguistics, we are talking about the branches of sciences with the help of language, or it is actually a blend of study of different sciences with language. So that is all about when we talk about macro-linguistics. Linguistics today is a subject of study, independent of other disciplines. Before the 20th century, the study of language was not regarded as a separate area of study in its own right. It was considered to be the part of studying the history of language or the philosophy of language. Here, when we are talking about the background study of linguistics before the 20th century, it was not actually an independent subject. It was studied with the help of history, or we could say philosophy of language. So linguistics is the modern name, which defines the specific discipline. It also linked to other disciplines, and there are overlapping areas of concern. When we talk about linguistics, it is actually a modern discipline in science. The main concern of modern linguistics is to describe a language. Modern linguistics is generally known as descriptive. So study its nature and to study a theory of language, linguistics has other concerns which fall within its scope, and these include historical and comparative study of language. So when we talk about the modern linguistics, we are actually concerned with the description of language. And what is the description is actually the study nature and it is the study of theory of language. And that falls within the historical and comparative study of language. Here are descriptive, comparative, and historical linguistics. When we talk about descriptive linguistics is emphasized in modern linguistics as it is a fundamental aspect of the study of language. It contrasts with perspective linguistics of earlier times because it deals with description how language actually works rather than how it should be. Here it is very clear, I would like to define it, that when we talk about a description of language, we are talking about how language is actually used. What are the pronunciations of the words? What are the rules of grammar? What are the meanings of the words? We rather are not concerned how their rules should be, how their pronunciations should be, or how their meanings should be. In descriptive linguistics, we describe the language systematically at all levels: phonology, grammar, and semantics. We analyze and describe the structure of the language. So this is very clear here. When we talk about a description of linguistics, we are talking about how language is actually used. As it is there, a definition from Robbins 1985, page 3. Descriptive linguistics is concerned with the description and analysis of the ways in which a language operates and is used by a given set of speakers at a given time. Here, when we talk about historical linguistics, here is a definition from Robbins, 1985, page 5. Historical linguistics is the study of developments in language. In the course of time, the ways in which language change from period to period. So when we talk about historical linguistics, we talk about changes historically occurred within language. The term synchronic and diachronic, we already have talked about these two terminologies and their differences in our previous lecture. You could watch the differences between synchronic and diachronic linguistics. The terms synchronic and diachronic given by Saussure, 1916, are used to distinguish between the description of a stage of language at a given time and distortion of changes that take place in language during the passage of time. So when we talk about synchronic study of language, we talk about what are the rules at the present time within language. And when we talk about diachronic linguistics, we talk about the historical changes within language. As it is there, a synchronic description is non-historical. When we talk about synchronic linguistics, we are talking about the study of language at present time. But a diachronic traces the historical development of language. When we talk about diachronic study of language, we talk about the historical study of language. How or what changes occur within language. This definition is taken from Lyon's 1981, page 219. Here again are at last but not the least, comparative linguistics. Comparative linguistics is concerned with comparing two or more languages. When the history of these languages is compared with a view to discovering the historical relation between these languages, it is known as comparative historical study or philosophy. When we are comparing the languages historically, we are talking about that is called comparative linguistics. Thanks for attention. Thank you very much. Hopefully this could have been very helping for all of you.